So I think we're going to move on to crafting now. I think unless there's anything else under creatures other than coral structures spawning jellyfish.
No, I think we're good.
All right.
By the way, space jellyfish would be cool. Just saying.
All right, fair enough.
There will be thousands of creatures.
Oh yeah.
What they said.
Yep. So crafting. Are there any plans to simplify the current rather elaborate crafting system?
Yes.
Yay.
The current system is the remainder of the old system and partial implementations of 2 new systems. I'd really like to see all 3 get combined and streamlined into one cohesive, logical system.
Yeah.
It's something we're working on. I don't actually have a direct solution at the moment, although since I made up Cubitons, or rather,
cool.
I didn't make them up. I provided the solution for the idea.
Yeah.
Right. I'm partial to seeing them used as a base resource, but really at this point we're open to ideas because, yeah, it's just not something we've been focusing on, and it's the way it is right now. It's most players are well aware it's exploitable, and resources are just far too easy to come across because you can create infinite loops to get all the resources you need.
Yeah.
Or all the credits you need.
Exactly. I think that actually goes into the next question here pretty well. Will we see more logical or lateral recipes in factory systems, e.g. yellow hull from sand, red hull from red rock, etc.?
Yes. That actually would be a direct effect if I manage to tie in the Cubitons with it.
Amazing. Well, Cubitons are great, but this would be for mass production, wouldn't it?
No, I would... It's complicated since it isn't even fully worked out, right? How do you explain something you only halfway understand or have solved?
What, you mean with reference to Cubitons or recipes?
Well, think of Cubitons like ores, right? Like you get different types from different
mechanics, isn't
areas, and then you can use those in crafting items. Then you can craft items into blocks, that sort of thing.
Right,
it's something we're going to work on. Yes,
I think the whole point of having a simpler crafting system would be not to make it arbitrary logic that they have to spend 10 hours learning first. I like the idea of Cubitons, and it is a really powerful system, but like you just buy everything from the shop. Yeah, there's no exploration. There's no going to mine something. You don't think, oh, I need this, so I have to go here. You just think, I need a shop.
We can do that with the Cubiton system, though. We just have to organize it better.
Because I'm saying, give people a reason to resource gather.
Branch. Yeah, we do want that. Yeah. I guess I'm trying to explain something that just isn't ready to be explained. We want to simplify it and make it make sense for people while still retaining the fun, high customization option as an option.
It's a fair point. It's a good aim to be, and that seems to be the way that this whole game is. So, I think.
Schema made a good point, which is with the space setting, it's hard to get something logical that's when you can just fly to a different planet to get another resource. It's really hard to make certain resources more valuable than others,
and that's why you need, that's why you need to have a recipe system that isn't just throw it all in a box and eventually you'll have enough bits to make the bit you needed.
Yeah.
I think Cubitons are great because if I'm in a mix, if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I've got no ship core, but I've got a whole bunch of hull and a whole bunch of thrusters on me, then I can theoretically throw that into Cubitons and make myself a ship core. Don't quote me. That's not right. But
that's what we want it there for.
That's
it's
perfect.
Something. It's a utility.
Yeah. To be honest, it's personal crafting explained. It makes sense. We can manipulate atoms or something, That's cool. But the problem is, at the moment, nobody understands where they find an SD1000 capacitor or how. So you just buy everything from the shop. It's good that it's in the shop, but what it means is that on a big server, anyone wants to know is where are the shops. You know?
Yeah, I guess what it comes down to is we want to improve it, but it's hard to give any specific details on it because we haven't worked out the system.
I think that'll
It's
be a
possible
question.
to do it custom, though, isn't it? I think isn't
I
it
just
already? Isn't
I
it
just had
possible?
an absolutely horrific idea.
Well, just to get that answered, Cal, is it already possible to make a custom recipe?
I know that servers have their custom economies and they
Yeah.
have what they call fixed recipes. So I assume yes, it's possible to
It's
change
possible
it.
already. Yeah,
I think
cool.
it's a lot of work to go through and do it.
That's what I mean, though. If it's already possible and you let other people do it on their own server if they want, you don't really need to, do you? No. Or is that?
Yeah.
Sorry, Apex. What were you saying?
No, that's no problem. I just had an idea for an absolutely awful way to assault an enemy base.
Oh right, okay.
Well, that's kind
What's
of
the
off topic.
topic?
We can get to that later. Though.
We're on crafting at the moment.
Oh, okay,
lads, so
sorry.
Write it
Yeah,
down.
This
Write
was
it
to
down.
do with creatures, so I
Only
should have
just,
done it
Ryben. Are
earlier.
you? What's that, Ryben?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I think that what we'll do, Cal, if you ever decide to come back, we can go over that question again if we ever do Q&A number 2.
Yeah, there'll be lots more questions, I'm sure.
I would love to host as many of them as I can, and of course, I will have better internet tomorrow. I'm calling the company tomorrow. Anyway, how long in the future do you see yourself starting a proper refinement and balancing of the economic system?
This gets back to the crafting. It's hard to implement a system when everything keeps changing. Until all the features are in, all the block types are in.
It's really not worth it.
Yeah, I see us really messing with it once we have most of the block systems, or the block types and ship systems changed and overhauled, the new stuff added in, and when we actually redo the generation for the universe, at that point we'll have that would be a good time to implement a new crafting system because you know what all your resources are, you know how rare they are, you can tie those into the blocks that you know exist in the game now. So there's no ETA on it, but it will likely coincide or be close to when the universe regeneration, or when the universe generation gets an overhaul.
All right. Well, that's pretty straightforward. So, in other words, a longer version of soon, trademarked.
Next time.
Next time on Starmade.
On Q&A with the devs. That's what we'll be talking about then, by the looks of it.
So I think, just to generate some rage in the chat, we're going to skip over FTL and move that to the next one.
They're going to be
Everyone
like,
brace
why, why, Raven?
Prepare for lag storm, level 5.
Everyone leaves.
Yeah,
I'm sure if they've waited this long, they'll wait long enough, so...
Okay.
So they won't mind another 5 minutes, because the next section isn't even that big, is it?
It's just this and Miscellaneous, and then we're pretty much done. But all right, I'll let you guys go. We will go into FTL next. But Cal, I believe you want to. Let me see here.
Oh.
Sorry, just taking care of a little bit of business. Let's go ahead and cover FTL real quick.
Real quick.
This is going to be a long one, guys.
3 hours later.
We'll just jump right through it.
Yep. So, how about this?
Oh.
One word answer, Cal. FTL.
There's several types.
No, that's it.
No, just That's it. That's it. It was a one-word answer. That's all I got. All you got. That's it. We're done. The answer, guys, for FTL is Moving on to Miscellaneous. No. Go ahead, Cal. Sorry to cut you off.
All right. No, that's it.
All right, we're done. Yep, that's it. You heard it from the devs. We're done.
That's all you get. That's it.
There's been lots of suggestions for FTL types. What it comes down to is 3 or 4 basic concepts. There's jumping, which is teleporting to a new place. There's hyperluminal, which is traveling really, really fast. And then there's spatial distortions, which is, you know, going through a wormhole, or, you know, it's the... Oh, there's a 4th one. I'm sorry. There's also an option for a type of hyperspace. What we plan to use in the game, we'd like to have a lot of different options, but mostly, I guess Schema says mostly jump gates and black holes are planned.
Cool.
You know, I don't know if we can have hyperspace or if we can have wormholes, but...
Are you allowed to reveal the method? Because, of course, everyone's going to be talking about it, and I thought that was quite interesting when we talked about it. I don't know if...
I thought I knew the method, but... Oh, you mean like how the mechanics would work?
Yeah. So it's not a change sector, because the thing is, as soon as you start talking about what it will be, people want to say X, Y, Z, and what you said to me was quite elegant. It was about the sector boundaries. I can't say anything really.
I got sent a message with a string of gibberish.
Oh really?
And, the follow-up message was,
is it
whoops.
Shut up to me, no.
It was, I don't even know what the symbols are, but the follow-up message was, whoops, spilled my drink.
Oh right.
All right, I can go over it, and I'll just talk about all four mechanics. These aren't specific FTLs. Like, you're not going to have Mass Effect jump gates. We're not going to put them in like that. We're going to do it like we would with the weapon systems. We're going to give you a functionality. You can build it how you want it, make it look how you want, and call it what you want.
So it can be a warp drive if you want it to, but
yeah,
you could probably use it for many things, and I like that.
The base factor is it's going to cost a lot of power. Like, you're going to have you're going to have to sit there and charge up, do these. You're not just going to be able to, you know, say, oh, I'm losing a fight, push a button, and you're gone. There's none of that. It's one of those things, like, you're going to have to spend, you know, 5 minutes pumping power into a jump gate to charge it up and then jump.
Sounds good.
So we'll start with the most popular one, which is jump gates, which is basically you go up to a station or something, right? And it flings you, you know, somewhere else in the universe. Like, you get teleported there, right?
Yeah,
Instantaneous travel.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically would work similar to the jump gate would work similar to the change sector command that we have in the game right now. People have pointed this out. Yes, it's obvious. We're aware that the same system would work. We're just not at the point of implementing FTL. So that one's covered. People have suggested it. We've been aware of it. It's possible. We'll get to it, hopefully. I don't know if we'll use it or not. There may be some issue I'm not aware of that would make it detrimental, and we would want to avoid it. The second type is hyperspace. Hyperspace is probably the least likely one, just because we don't want to add a bunch of space where you're being taken out of the beautiful Starmade universe. Right? We want to keep you in the world that we've been working on building. That being said, there's a possibility to have a hyperspace where you can just go really fast and travel in a cool-looking area that has absolutely no physical blocks.
Yeah, make it pretty.
It's
pretty
possible,
whoosh.
but it's we could add a whoosh to any of these. That's just a graphical effect. The hyperspace would be traveling from point A to point B, but you're traveling through Dimension X, and it's going to take a little time, but not nearly as much as it would have in the Starmade universe. So it's not instantaneous, but there is some travel. The next type is... Sorry, I got to think here. Wormholes.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry. The last thing that you just said. You've heard of out phase, haven't you? So then you fly through stuff until you get to the other gate. You're still in the same universe, but you're actually not a physical entity, so you can be seen as a kind of ghost image.
That's the next type. I'll get to that.
Oh, sorry, mate. Carry on.
No, it's
I'm
all
jumping
good.
again.
Sorry, that fits in with the fourth game, with the fourth FTL mechanic. We'll get to that. Don't worry. The third one is wormholes, warp gates. From the wormhole at Deep Space Nine in Star Trek to the stargates that you have in SG-1. They're all the same thing. You walk through an event horizon, you're teleported somewhere else. When you go through that, there's the possibility of having size issues, right? So there's a wormhole network. Players build a gate, right? There's this giant gate, you find it, and you're like, ooh, I'm going to fly my battleship through here and attack the person on the other side. You fly through. You come out on the other side, gate's 1/3 the diameter of the original. You just had 2/3 of your ship shaved away. Poof, gone. You need to explore these things before you just run through them.
So they'll have randomly sized gates, and
the gates would be built by players.
Oh, right, so that's just a poorly built gate then.
Or a trap.
Or purposely
Or a trap,
small.
Yeah, very true. An iris. There's
I would imagine any generated gates used by NPCs or AIs would tend to be the same size, but that isn't necessarily the case. They could be told to do it otherwise. Then the last type is the superluminals, which is just traveling really, really fast. Which players do that in the game right now by turning up their travel speed, and they don't run into anything because they're flying so fast nothing can load. The downside is when you stop, if something's where you are, all of a sudden it's inside your ship, and with things like collision damage or whatever, we could even just make it when you pop out of space, don't have collision damage, so there's no lag. But if there's something inside your ship, just maybe delete your ship. That sort of very risky thing, so that you only want to use that in special conditions, or just adding risks, other things. There's lots of options here, but those are the 4 different mechanics we can employ. And as for how we're going to balance them, there's not a lot of specifics yet. FTL is something we won't be adding until late in the development.
There is actually a 5th. I did some research for you after we spoke, and there's a 5th type.
Jump
drive. The improbability drive. It teleports you and your enemies to a random location in the universe, and it turns them into a bowl of petunias and a sperm whale, I think.
Either that, or it
turns... The rule is random.
Either that, or it turns your ship into every ship in the category, or in the catalog, and then back to yours.
Yeah.
As fun as that is, I would think that would fall in with the jump gate type of FTL.
Yeah, it's in the. People were asking me in the thing. Yeah.
Oh no,
it's a famous type of warp technology.
Where do you think space whales come from? Come on.
Yeah. True.
True.
And space petunias.
Quantum entanglement, the jump drive.
Yep. Alright, so I think we've covered most of FTL. I'm going to run down the list real quick. Tom, do you have anything else to add?
No, I do not. I think we've covered everything. Except for the fact that people were wondering about... You didn't say anything about the sector boundaries being... Are we allowed to talk about that, or... That not even a thing?
Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Because it's quite an elegant way of doing it, and it'll answer a lot of people's questions who do have questions about it.
This would be a function that would work with the wormhole and a Stargate type of FTL. The event horizon, hopefully we can just treat it like a sector boundary between 2 different gates, right? So the gates are both loaded in. It creates a sector boundary between the 2. We can show a simple graphic effect, and now flying from one gate to the other is the same as flying from one sector to another.
Which is just such a beautiful... If that's the way it does happen, that would be such a beautiful thing, because a lot of people worry about when you teleport colliding with things, and I've travelled a lot of sector boundaries, and I don't collide with many things, so... That'd be interesting.
There's something that I never got the opportunity to bring up. The credit limit.
We'll catch that in the next section in Miscellaneous. We'll definitely get that one.
All right.
It'll just be a minute.
No worries, bro.
So, Zero, anything else on FTL?
Nah. I'll wait till we actually get to the point where it starts getting implemented before I start messing with it.
Fair point. Apex?
I'm sorry, what?
Anything for FTL?
No.
Alright. Phantom?
I'm good.
And Saber. Sounded like you might have had something to say.
Yeah, well, basically I just wanted to say that I really liked the idea of having to essentially like pioneer the frontier of the universe, if you will, in order to get like a jump gate to a certain point, rather than just being like, oh, I want to set my FTL to these coordinates and then going. I mean, you could potentially do that, but then it'd be really dangerous for you to do it. So having like player-made jump gates or whatever, where they've like cleared the path.
I think
I think that will really kind of help give people reasons to explore and to actually visit places, rather than just, oh, I'm going to set up my home base here or wherever, you know.
Because it's a game, it's a simulation, what we need to do is encourage methods that allow the game to generate your destination, either while you're en route or when you arrive there, in such a way that it makes sense. So like, say you just teleport somewhere, well, it's going to generate when you get there, but you may have teleported inside of a planet or a star and you're going to regret it. So
someone just poked me from the fleet chat saying that maybe jump gates could also cost faction points in addition to power. So it would be like, you know, but then it's like
they would have a high maintenance cost. Yeah. That is a good idea.
AY computer.
What about larger jump gates requiring more power storage and more power regen?
It would be power usage per block, and to make a larger jump gate, you're going to need more blocks. So it would scale up as you scale up.
Nice.
All right, I think that's FTL, isn't it?
I think so.
All right.
He covered everything because he covered every category by type. So
yeah,
there's still lots of details, but I mean that ought to be enough for people to chew on.
Yeah,
but you make it what you want it, don't you?
And I figure it might be. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it might be best to save that for Q&A number 2 or 3 once some of the details have been hashed out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we may as well move on to Miscellaneous. This will be the last category. So, we're going to start with a build mode question. Will advanced build mode ever get a number entry text field and increase size limits?
Yeah, they will, but it'll be a server setting because this is something that griefers can use to lag the server intentionally. So we'll leave that control with the server admins, but it will be an option.
All right.
I like that because if you think about it with the new sliders, set it in your own, and it's up to you then, isn't it? I really like how he leaves control with server owners, because then as a community you can decide on what you all want, and it actually allows a lot of creativity just from that, you know, diversity and all.
Okay.
Also, there is going to be probably again with admin controls a restriction on the use of mass delete, particularly on the build block.
Oh, okay.
I can deal with that.
What we were discussing is that in order to use a build block to modify, say, a planet and mass delete things, say if you want to terraform, you're going to have to own the planet for a percentage of time. And in order to own the planet for an amount of time, that's a really large home base, right? You're going to need a good deal of faction members to be able to pull that off, and you're going to have to maintain that territory for a period of time before the build block will enable you to mass remove. It maybe will build up over time, or we'll just wait until a certain time is allotted and then just tick over to being possible.
You know why build block mining is a problem, though, right?
Oh, everyone knows why it's a problem.
Yeah, because...
But making this dependent on having it as a home base or a forward base, like we mentioned, that possibility, having to have that for a certain amount of time, needing a certain number of faction members, you won't just use this on any planet. You're only going to be using it on your home planet or a planet you highly value. So it won't be a mining technique. It'll be more of a modify my home base technique.
I always viewed it as a bit of an exploit, to be honest.
It is an exploit. It's
you just whack triple symmetry on, go to a planet, and just start removing things randomly and hope that you actually get something useful. But the reason for it is, like, they don't know. Even if they know, they're trying to make money quick, aren't they?
Yeah, but this would prevent that sort of mindset from being very productive. The time and effort put into setting up and maintaining a faction base long enough for you to be able to use this revised method with the build block would make it you're just better off going asteroid mining or going and using salvage lasers on a planet.
I think it would be less of a problem if, well, once we have, like, for example, quests that give people a reward, newbies will come to the shop, talk to the NPC, and then go and do whatever it is and get their reward. And so there will be less people going, I need ice crystal, you know, or I need to find some ore, because ore is fine, but it just gets sold. It doesn't actually get used for industry.
That'll change.
Yeah, all that will change.
We'd really like to see, specifically to see ore get used, but also to see other types of blocks be needed. But I mean, that's getting back into something we obviously have gone over. So
is he able to collect, just out of interest, is he able to get any logs or information from the game? You know how, for example, Minecraft logs distance traveled, how many iron blocks are smelted every day, all stupid. I know that we might not have that, but you know, purposes even just for the dev use to know a lot of people have been mining L5 ores, you know, whereas maybe they weren't always doing that. And you could spot trends of what people are doing. I don't know if that's a thing, or is that something that you do? I don't know, you might already do it.
I don't know. I'm waiting to find out. I'm not aware of it happening.
Quite a random question, I know, but it's just...
They aren't being done right now, but those kind of things with logs are completely possible.
Nice, because I think it would be really useful, even just for the internal you guys, just so that you know what are the most popular blocks in the game, what isn't getting used, you know, for example. Then maybe why, you know. Yeah. Analytics are always useful. That's really cool.
All right.
So
let's move on to the next question real quick, as I think we kind of covered most of this, right?
Yep, we've only got got a handful of questions left, guys. I just want to thank everyone in the stream for staying on for this long, because everyone stayed on after the FTL, which is really cool.
And thank you for jumping over. I'm sorry that my stream went down, but all this stuff I did manage to record all of it, so that's good. Alright, so, will admins be able to save space stations and planets?
I think we're losing you, Ryben. Ryben.
How about now?
Yes, admins can already /save and /load.
But don't do it.
Planets, no. Stations, yes. But the stations end up getting treated as pirate ships.
It's inadvisable.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they spawn in waves of 3 as well, which isn't good, as you know.
I've seen them spawn in waves of 8.
Oh wow. See, we just don't. You know, we'll wait until you finish that.
That's good to know. But yes, they should be added to the catalog, and things like that should be fixed so that you don't have 8 pirate bases spawning in on you.
It's quite fun. It was quite interesting.
It's comical to say the least.
Right, what are you talking, mate?
The statistics that you were asking about.
Yes,
saying that would be good for balancing when the time comes for that.
Excellent, excellent. Cool. I like it.
Can you all hear me then?
Yes, now we can hear you, buddy.
All right. Let's move on and elaborate on. I guess we wanted to elaborate on shields a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, we threw this one down here because we didn't want to get off topic too much.
Shields OP.
Shields might feel more OP. I don't know. We'll see
really?
what you think after we throw this one out there.
Wow.
I don't know that I'm going to buff them.
Weapons
I'm going to add more
scary.
control.
Sorry, carry on, mate.
Weapons will be scary. I hope. This is another hypothetical system, so it's not confirmed to be in the game yet. So don't freak out. The idea is to take your shield blocks, right? And they will work like weapon blocks. They're an enhancer that you link to one primary block.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh.
Having a little trouble with saliva going down the wrong tube.
Ooh.
Fun.
Don't choke on us.
I have a push to talk, so it's okay. I'm good now. So what will happen is you'll place a shield emitter block, and then you will link that block to your groups of shielding. So it won't be ship-wide shielding anymore. That group will apply to that block. It'll have a set amount of health and a set regen rate. You will have an option to set your 6 directionals percentages, so you can set all of the percentage to the forward direction. What that will do is, based on the emitter location within your ship, say if you put 100% forward, right? Every block on your ship that is forward of that shield emitter block, right? It's positive Z compared to the shield emitter, will get the shielding. This isn't linear, it's like the plane of symmetry from that field emitter.
So you're going to have emitters with a limited range. So you're going to have to cover your ship with all kinds of little shield arrays. Make your shields cover your whole ship.
You could, or you could have it all based on one emitter at the center of your ship and just evenly balances shields everywhere. That would be what we have now. Or you could set it with one in the middle of your ship and push all your shields forward. Or you could set multiple emitters across your ship, customize the shield strengths in different areas. Say if you really want to protect that reactor core, you could put in several emitters that only benefit one direction, but since they're looped around that core is now getting 4 times the shielding than the rest of the ship.
Is that what you're saying? A shield core and enhancers?
No, what I'm saying is you can set up your emitters to protect what you want.
Okay. As opposed to protecting the whole ship like they do now.
What Scheme is pointing out is that your core, by default, will be able to act as a shield emitter. So your current ships, as is, will act as if there's one shield emitter, and it's just balanced shields everywhere.
Oh, so this isn't right. So this isn't you will have a blind spot. This is just to make your shield have hardened front end.
What it is
at the
it lets you
sacrifice
have
of a weak rear
directional
end.
shielding. This is a setup to give you directional shielding, so you can push your shields forward, right, weakening your back end.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like you've got all shields at the front and no shields at the back.
You can set it up any way you want.
It's kind of like what you were talking about with the thrusters earlier. You can you can designate set amounts for set directions.
Yes.
But they'll all still be there. Some areas will just be less than others.
Right, okay. That's interesting. So it's like hardening, basically. You can have hardened shields by making a better array in a particular part of the ship.
Yes.
That sounds cool.
But it also will not break current shielding on ships.
Will it be visible, or is it just the same graphic? It makes the shield graphic when people shoot it. I'm only asking because you called it emitter.
Oh, the shields will work the same way they do. They'll be skin tagged on your ship.
Nice.
We can't do bubble shielding. I know
No,
people
it's
ask
fine.
for that. I'm going to go ahead and explain it because people ask for bubble shielding. The problem is, especially if you have multiple emitters, that's calculating lots and lots of curved surfaces in a game that doesn't have any hard-coded limitations for the player building. So they could put in hundreds of little bubble shields, and that's just going to cause lots of lag. So this is the best way to get around that and still have directional shielding.
Cool. I'm all for more meta in design for ship systems. Because the power system is what got me into it, really. It was like a little puzzle.
Can I bring up the thing I was trying to earlier?
Sure.
I take it we're in Miscellaneous now.
Yes.
Yes.
Lego 8-bit is riding my ass about the money limit.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where you were going to go with that, Apex. So
the money limit is an old number that was implemented before Schema changed the amount of data attributed to numbers in the game. It used to be 2,147 million was the maximum number you could have. The limit was added because if you went over that number, you reset to 0. When he changed how that worked, increasing the limit to like 4 quintillion, no, it was 9 quintillion, which is a huge number. You're never going to reach it.
Yeah, so now it's just a
accepted.
Yeah, so now it's just a problem with where do the numbers fit on the screen?
Why not just 99999?
That hard limit simply hasn't been changed.
Right, cool. So it can be raised.
Yes.
Maybe soon.
Yeah, what he's asking is it going to be?
Who knows?
Going to what?
Going to be raised.
Someone's saying it's. Yeah, there's people saying things. It's possibly that, but he's saying that it's changed now because there's been optimizations made. But anyway, we'll see, won't we?
All right. Sorry. I wanted to clear up one thing you asked about on the shields. You're asking if there's a different graphic. I don't know how we would display a weak shield versus a strong shield, or even if we should.
No, it's fine. I was only asking because you said emitter, and I thought that would mean that you were planning to trying to preempt questions. I like the shields as is.
The shield totals should amalgamate. So if you have 5 blocks and they all have an overlapping shield area at a particular part of the ship, that particular part of the ship will have that high of a shield amount. It won't be one, just the strongest one or the weakest one. It'll just add them all up, so it'll be really strong in that area.
Okay.
Certainly interesting. Yeah, well, the way I build a layer of shields all the way around everything on my ship, so it's like one of the last layers to go down. That's interesting to see what will happen when I do it with this system. But we'll see, won't we? That's the best thing about all of this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for my ships because one of the things I use for space filler is shield block.
George the Greatest kind of wrote what I was thinking. The whole shield strength color thing. The weaker, the more transparent. The stronger, the more opaque.
That gets down to percentage.
Texture pack settings,
it's like what counts as the strongest? 5 million shields, 10 million. What counts as the weakest? Obviously, 1 shield point's going to count as the weakest. Can you even see that?
Is it proportional though? I think he means proportional.
Proportional to what?
Maybe can I just maybe ask? Is it even a texture or is it an in-game asset, like an engine drawn graphic, shield graphic? Because if it's a texture, you can just tell people to make their own textures if they want it to look different.
Right now, it's a texture. They can go in and change out the shield texture, but that doesn't change the how transparent it is. It doesn't change the color gradient that it goes through as it takes damage.
Right. Okay. Cool. But I like the color gradient. They didn't always have that, I don't think, and it works. It works really well. When you're in the corner of a ship, it starts going red, and then you break through it.
All right. The credit issue.
Yep.
Oh, apparently the shield graphic is a texture made by the engine, so it's not something they can just change out.
Maybe it will found that in the image resources.
I thought I had two, but I never managed to get it to change it and get it to work. So I
maybe
think
it was
it's something
at one point and that file just was never removed.
Yeah, it's something that has the potential to be made customizable. So, I mean that'll come in time, I hope. The credits, instead of increasing the cap, it might be better to balance it so that things just cost less, and then it won't really be a problem. Because I mean, who needs 2 billion credits, right? Also, as a feature that's already in work in the next build is